I think so, but I've never made them.
Okay, so I'll go a little bit of information about dryer balls to start with. They replace sheets, so they bounce around in the dryer with your wet clothes to reduce static electricity, to help your clothes dry better, and to kind of fluff them up. They save money because they're reusable, and there's no chemicals, so it's very environmentally friendly. And if you like your clothes to have a fresh scent, you can add a few drops of an essential oil like lavender onto your dryer balls to help your clothes smell good. And then you typically want 2 or 3 dryer balls per load. So we're going to be making 1 each today. And if you need more fiber, I can get you that to make some more. So dryer balls are made through a process called wet felting. And it uses water and soap to turn the fiber into felted balls. Wool fiber has microscopic scales on them, each strand does, and as they move and twist, they become entangled. Water helps the scales to open up like little barbs, and too much water makes the fibers kind of swim in the water. Soap helps the scales to spread even more, and it also provides as a lubricant, allowing you to move it around in your hands easier. Too much soap can prevent the fibers from attaching to each other. There are different ways to make dryer balls. There's videos and websites online that you can learn how. One way is to start with your whole wad of fiber, which is about, when you get it all squished down, is about the size of a grapefruit or a softball. And you can grab it in your hand and get it all down to the end of the nylon. You guys are just watching at this point. And you tie it off, and then you work it with the soap and water in your hand until the fibers start to come through the nylon. You don't want to continue working it once the fibers come through the nylon, because then it'll be stuck to the nylon. But just to work with that is one way. The other way, which we're going to do today, because I have found this a little bit easier, is to start with a small, about golf ball size wad of fiber in your hand, and you can put it in the nylon, or you can keep it in your hand, and you can just work it gradually so it becomes a hard ball, and then you layer on more fiber until you get the full ball done. A third way is to use a dry felting method, where you take your fiber ball and you use a felting needle, and it will, you work it into a circle, a ball, and it will felt together that way. I have never tried that way. There's different ways to dry. So you guys look up some other ways. I am searching the fastest way to make them, because they do seem a little bit time consuming when you want to make them for selling them. We're going to go over the supplies and the cost. The fiber that you can use is llama, alpaca, or sheep wool. That works great. You can around and find a small amount, and then you want your nylon stocking. These are about 50 cents each. And your soap, which costs 6 cents per ounce, and then you have your gloves, which are about 30 cents a pair. You want hot water and scissors, and then if you're going to do these on your own with raw fiber, you can use these slicker brushes. I'll show you in a minute what we do with these. And then essential oils are optional. They vary in price a lot, from $2 to $10, even more per bottle. But that's optional. And so the total cost per dryer ball comes out to about 86 cents. In most places, you find them like in small gift shops, craft stores, that they sell them for about $3 to $5 each. So if you wanted to make this kind of like a side business, you could make a considerable amount of money. So I'm going to tell you how we work the ball in your hand. We're going to work it into a ball with some pressure and friction. So doing this, kind of rolling it around into a snowball. It's kind of a feeling thing. As you work the fiber into a firm ball, I want you guys to pay attention to how it feels in your hand. Is it becoming a ball? Is it felting together? Are there pieces that aren't felting to the other fibers? It's important that we don't get any loose pieces with any mats. So if it's feeling dry in your hands, then you might need more water. And it needs to move around better in your hands. Add a little bit more soap. So I'll show you some things that can kind of go wrong. You want to prevent this matting. So when the fiber doesn't attach to the other bits of fiber, it just kind of felts to itself. And then you kind of have this chunk. And now this works just fine. But you want to then, if this happens, you're going to want to work it to get those fibers to really attach to the other fibers. So that's one thing that, again, has happened a couple times for me. So just let me know if that starts to happen, if you notice that, because then we'll just, again, have you focus working on getting those fibers to go together. And then guard hairs, if you have these guard hairs, which are, you shouldn't, but these guard hairs are straight and thick and coarse, and they do not felt well. So, but as you're doing other dryer ball projects, when you get fiber, you'll wanna pay attention to those and maybe remove those. So those are straight and coarse and won't felt together. So to start with, I will show you, I've already done this on your fiber that you have, but I'm going to show you what we have to do. This is some of Zorro's fiber, and it's got a lot of dirt and debris in it. It's already got kind of these matted pieces, so we want to kind of comb it out. There's this is a process called carding the fiber, and you take a chunk of it, and these are called slicker brushes that you can get at Fleet Farm or pet stores, and you want to just brush it out, and that helps get some of the debris out, and so brushes it out. So again, if I've already done this with your fiber, but if you decide to do another dryer ball or a felting project, you're going to want to do this. A little bit more combed out, it'll be easier to work with, okay? And it gets some of the dirt and debris out. All right, so we're going to get started. Has everybody got your supplies?
Yeah.
Okay. So take your fiber and your soap. Gloves are just to help protect your hands. And we're going to go over to our sink. I recommend having a towel in front of you because sometimes you can get a little wet. And you're going to fill your sink or your basin with some hot water. About 2 to 3 inches of hot water. Add a little, maybe about a couple of teaspoons of soap. All right, so we're all ready? Okay, yes. So take your fiber and get it wet in the water, hanging onto it so it doesn't get away from you. And we're just kind of washing it a little bit. But you can see what that swimming effect, and with too much water can make it kind of swim in there. We're just cleaning it.
Do we have to squish all the stuff out or like squish the water out or no?
You can pick it up in your hand then and kind of squish it out. You can put it in the water again and do it till, you know, you think you got it, your water's coming pretty clean. If your water's really dirty at this point, you can empty it and add some fresh water. My water's still pretty good, so I'm just gonna leave it. So then when you're ready, you're gonna take that wet fiber in your hand and put it all the way to the bottom of the stocking. Now again, this part is optional, but again, it helps you keep control of it. If you can tie it in a knot, the nylon in a knot, all the way down to the bottom. Okay, we're gonna get that wet.
Yep, over.
Okay, and I like to add a little bit more soap, just a drop. Oops. Okay, just a drop, and start working it. That's that snowball. Okay, packing that snowball really tight. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. You're getting all those fibers to pack well together and felt.
Yep, squeeze it. Okay, see how she's pushing it back and forth between her hands?
And once you get a little ball,
I need a little bit of time.
in motion. I think of this as making like Christmas cookies, and you got sugar cookies, and you got to roll it into a ball. Or those peanut butter blossoms, you got to roll into a ball.
Dump this in, right?
And then, so can you feel it? Does it feel like it's getting firmer into a ball? It does a little bit of muscle. Going back and forth. If you need to get wet again to make it easier to work with, you can do that. If you feel like you need a little bit more lubrication, you can grab a drop of that. I don't know if you can see this, but my fibers are starting to come through the nylon. Do you see that?
Yep.
Okay, so now you're gonna cut below your knot, because we'll reuse this nylon at the end. Okay. And then you're gonna kind of peel the ball out.
Get it.
Hold on. Just wait a second.
So look at your ball once you get it out. I noticed on mine that this part is really felting well together. It's nice and smooth and all the fibers are together. Right here I have a little bit of an indent, and I just want to pay careful attention to that when I'm working my ball some more, that it doesn't become one of those matted parts. I don't think it will. It's just a little indent, but I'm gonna work that a little bit to help make sure that that gets felted into a nice ball. So you're just gonna work it a little bit and kind of pay attention to that spot, okay, if you have that. So now again, we're gonna dip it in some water, add another little fingerful of soap, and again, we're just gonna continue to work it. And as you work it, I like to do this motion a lot. As you work it in your hands, you'll feel it getting more firm, okay? We want the dryer ball to be really firm and not soft and squishy, because it'll lose its shape as it's rolling around in the dryer if it's too soft. And we need a little bit of pressure, a little bit of force to the ball to help them really fluff those holes up in the dryer.
Keep working. Yep, you wrote the head into the ball. Sorry, this is good. Hold on.
Put back into the water.
Work the ball until it's the ball.
This process of creating the dryer ball from start to finish usually takes me about 20 to 30 minutes. So like I said, it's, your arms and your shoulders can get tired. So I usually can only make maybe 4 a day at the most before I'm wiped. My hands are too tired. So again, that's why I'm kind of looking for different ways to make them faster so that I can produce more.
Hey, Brenda.
Yeah.
I have, can you see this like sticky outy part?
So again, just try and felt that if
Like
or
squish
you
it
can,
in?
Yep. Try and really rub it together. Rub it together like this to try and get that piece to felt in. If not, if it's just that little tag, you can trim it.
Oh, okay.
So my ball's getting there. I can squeeze it about this much. So I'll probably just do a little bit more on my ball before I add more fiber.
So how, when you want, how do you know when it's hard enough? Like, is it going to feel like a golf ball? Is it going to feel like a tennis ball?
It kind of depends on like when you feel like you're done enough and want to just add some more layers.
Okay.
It's firm. Like I am rolling this around and it feels very firm. Like I said, you don't want to be able to like squish it flat, but just a little bit of pressure and it maintains its shape. So that's pretty good. But yeah, kind of more like a ping pong ball, or you can squeeze a tennis ball a little bit. But you don't need it rock hard or anything.
Okay.
So we are gonna grab another bit of fiber here, about this much. You're gonna place your ball in the center. You might need to kind of spread it apart a little bit if it's become a little compressed in the bag. But so put that in the middle, and now you're going to dip it again in the water.
Ooh.
And then grab some more soap. And again, you're working it into that ball again. Add the layers on, it's not going to feel quite as firm as that initial ball, and that's okay.
Yeah.
As long as the center is got some weight to it or firmness to it, it will bounce around in the dryer. So I'm probably ahead of you guys, but I am done with my second layer, and you're just going to keep adding on another layer, getting it wet.
Now, Brenda, mine is doing this a little bit. Do I just have to keep working at it?
Yeah, just keep working it. Maybe add some more soap or water.
Soap to it? Okay.
That's when you want to, I can't do it on mine, but you really want to use your thumbs, I think, to really focus on that area where it's loose and try and get the felt with the other fibers there on your ball. The gloves obviously help your hands from drying out in the soap and water, but when you're making several of these, the wool can actually, it exfoliates your skin to the point where sometimes you get little, kind of like little sores or cuts because you've worn your skin away a lot. When I have to do that motion with my thumbs, then I end up with kind of like a rug burn on my fingers. Is everybody having fun?
Yeah.
Good. Are you going to help do laundry then after this?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so you can use your dryer balls. This is another motion I like to do, just kind of, again, however you can provide friction.
I just spin it in my hands and camera.
You gotta push into it though, but you gotta have pressure on it. There you go.
Is there such a thing as too much soap?
Yes, too much soap, and then your fibers become too slippery, and they will not go together. So
Oh dear.
it's all right. You can just rinse it with a little bit of water. Stick it in your water.
Okay.
It'll just take a little bit longer.
How big should they eventually be?
So it eventually is going to be about the size of a tennis ball.
Okay.
Whew, my arms are getting tired. How about yours?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
My fingers are starting to get wrinkly.
What exactly is a guard hair?
So guard hair on llamas are the outer layer of their fiber. You typically find that on their neck. And they're thick and coarse, and they help keep the inner layer of their fiber, their coat, from any wetness or debris, because everything just kind of slides off of it.
Hey, can I feel yours?
So Brenda, when we're done with this one, it just looks like there's just a few little hairs, right? That'll stick out
Yeah.
like a little coconut.
Yep.
It does look like a coconut.
And you can trim it. What we're going to do at the very end, once it becomes tennis ball size, is we're going to stick it back into the nylon, tie it off, and we're going to throw it in the washing machine, maybe with some towels on hot. And it's kind of like a final phase of felting. And then you can throw it right into the dryer then. And again, that will kind of make it a little bit more smooth and less of these hairs kind of sticking out. You can also just trim those, but they don't come off on your clothes, so it's nothing really to worry about. All right, I'm going to add another layer. Everybody progressing okay? Squeeze.
It's turning into a ball.
Good.
It's kind of.
Why do you love this?
My water's getting cold, so I'm going to dump mine out and get water.
So it all comes together. Right now you can throw a little piece together in the middle.
So Brenda, is there like typically 3 layers we put on, or we just have to look at the size?
It's up to you. It's just a matter of how much you want to do at once. How much layering you want to do, like how much can you handle in your hand. Like I said, obviously if you start with your whole bag in your hand, it seems like it takes longer because it's harder to get that center, and then seems like you're progressing, at least mentally, when you're adding layers. But however you want to do it.
Okay. And about how many uses can we get for a typical dryer ball, or we just have to kind of watch to see when it falls apart? And
yeah, I've been using mine for years, and so what you do if the fibers start to come loose is you can stick it back in the nylon or no nylon and just stick it in your washing machine, and it will felt with the hot water again, and then put it in the dryer. If it's just a couple of loose fibers, you can just trim those. So yeah, you want when you add more on, you want it to wrap all the way around the ball.
Yep.
And I can see that I have a little ridge that's starting here. So, and the other side looks nice and smooth. So again, I just want to work it.
Yeah, I can totally see how you can only do a little bit of, I mean, you could never do this all day long. Because,
Maybe the scissors
or at
should-
least those of us who, you know, work office jobs or, you know, we just don't have that kind of arm strength.
Right. So I'm just using my thumb to help go over this ridge to try and get the fibers on each side to link up, help together.
Not the way I think it.
I've also seen on the internet that people have made, or you can buy, like these felting mats. So I think it's like a mat that has a bunch of knobs on it, or some rough surface on it, and that they do to help it felt.
Get stuck.
Okay, have you ever taken a layer off because you can't get it to stick and just
No, you can do that. You got plenty of fiber in that
Okay.
bag.
because I feel like I'm just not getting this to,
Yeah. I would say if you're still working on it, it's not feeling like it's making progress, then
okay.
if you can take it off, yeah. Chris,
Okay.
try and like spread apart the fiber before you wrap it around, because it's
Okay.
probably gotten a little bit matted down from being
What do we do when it's the size that we want it to be?
Well, I would say at a minimum, you want it to be about this size.
Okay.
But the bigger it is, then it's not going to get lost in your clothes. So,
Okay.
like I said, ideally tennis ball size, but you could stop at that if you feel like you have a nice firm.
Yeah. What do we do? What do we do when we got it at a good size?
Okay, so you got your felted ball. You're going to take the nylon that you used, and you're going to shove it all the way down into the bottom. And you're going to tie it off close because you want it to maintain that ball shape. And then you're going to throw it in to the dryer, or the washer first and then the dryer. And then you should be done. Now from there you can add the essential oils if you want. Like I said, if your dryer ball is starting to lose some fibers over time, some get loose, you can put them back in the nylon and throw them in the washer with your towels and then the dryer. Again, you may need to trim those loose fibers. The other thing that you can use llama fiber for is for making pom-pom balls. So a much smaller and faster way to make pom-pom balls. So this is 3 different colors of llama fiber. And again, you're just starting with little balls. And then what I did with the lighter colored balls, the whites and the grays, is I dyed them using, let's see, it was water in a saucepan, and then you put like a mason jar in the saucepan, boil the water and add vinegar and then your food coloring. And I made, so you could make one for any holiday or just for every day, and you could hang it up around your house as decoration. So I'm really happy with the way this turned out. These were fun to make. And then, so those are the other uses. So the 4-H project areas that this dryer ball fits into would be crafts, and then you can make and show how your finished project. Consumer education, which my son did with the dryer balls, looking at the cost and the benefits of using them. And then also needle art. You can talk about how yarn is made, or if you try and make a fiber ball out with dry and use the felting needle, that would be needle arts. Okay. What do you think is the hardest part of this activity?
What do you guys think?
Probably the rolling and the patience that takes for the rolling and the rolling and the rolling.
Yep. So are you guys gonna use your dryer ball?
We'll use it. Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yep.